Hello, my name is Sheena Vickers and I will be presenting on security in cloud computing. My focus will be talking about the components of cloud computing, the service and deployment delivery methods of cloud computing, and and the challenges and the countermeasures of the threats in cloud computing. The term cloud refers to hardware and software resources that provide services over a network or the internet that meets the needs of users' requirements. Cloud computing has increased in importance as many people adopt the use of it because of its convenience. It enhances collaboration, agility, scalability, and provides potential for cost reduction through optimization and efficient computing. The adoption of cloud computing has generated security concerns for the data that is stored in the cloud environment. In fact, security is one of the biggest obstacles for cloud computing services. So, let's take a look at the components of cloud computing. There is virtualization, which creates a virtual instance of resources or a device such as the operating system. It is multi tenancy that allows for multiple users who do not share or see each other's data to share resources or application. Its cloud storage ability allows for the maintaining and managing and backing up of remote information that allows users to have access over a network. The hypervisor component allows multiple virtual machines to run on a single hardware host and manages and monitors various operating systems that run in the shared physical system. The cloud computing has four services and five deployment delivery models. The four service areas are software as a service, software platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and anything as a service. Software as a service is where users are able to use software in the cloud. Platform is where users are able to install their applications in the cloud and use that as their platform. Infrastructure as a service is where users are able to use the cloud as their network, their storage facility, and anything as a service is where they pretty much can pay as they go for any of the above mentioned services that they so desire. The deployment service delivery method, the delivery method, excuse me, are public, where that is where the general public and various organizations can use the cloud. The private environment is where universities and corporations may have their cloud network. Community cloud is where several organizations can share the same cloud space. And hybrid is a mixture of whether it be a private cloud, a public cloud, or a community cloud. And the virtual private infrastructure is where you have a semi private cloud computing of virtual private networks. So now that we have an understanding of what cloud computing is, let's look at some of the threats. And the threats that are faced in cloud computing will compromise the confidentiality of data, the integrity of data, and the availability of data. And some of the threats that we're going to look at, they may appear in more than one of these attributes. The first threat we will look at, excuse me, is denial of service. The denial of service in cloud computing compromises the availability of information as the attacker controls the system so that the system cannot satisfy any requests for legitimate users. Elevation of privilege is where the attacker penetrates all system defenses to join the trusted system itself, thereby compromises the confidentiality attribute in cloud computing. Weak service agreements in cloud computing can result as end users are being faced with vendor lock-in, data unavailability, hidden costs, and this compromises availability and the confidentiality that users have in cloud computing. In a session or account hijack, the attacker gains access to the user's credential, whether through social engineering or weak credentials, and perform malicious activities such as access to sensitive data, manipulating the data, or redirecting transaction, and this would compromise the integrity of data. Now let's look at some of the countermeasures that can be put in place to minimize or even eliminate the threats that were mentioned. In the use of least privilege in the cloud computing, it will counter the elevation of privilege threat. Users should not have access to information in the cloud that they will not need for their jobs, and service cloud providers should limit the access of their staff members or instill separation of duties so that staff members don't have entire access to everything in the cloud, because this will allow them to maybe manipulate the system or cause viruses, malwares to enter into the system because they have too much control over what they see in the system or what they can do in the cloud environment. To counter weak service agreement, cloud service providers and users should sign service agreements that clearly define security measures that are in place to protect users' data. To counter account or service hijacking, identity and access management control should be put in place where role-based access, user access, credentials are used. Data manipulation can be countered by installing web application scanners and firewalls. Denial of service can be countered if the cloud service provider uses policies that offer limited computational resources that would prevent an attacker from successfully requesting service computational resources that would deny legitimate users from accessing their service. Data leakage can be countered by using fragmented redundancy scattering techniques and digital signatures. And in conclusion, security should be built into cloud computing because users want to be guaranteed that their information will be kept safe and away from attackers, and it is also cloud users' responsibility to prevent their information from getting into the wrong hands through whether means of social engineering. So they have to make sure that they keep their passwords secure, they're not opening files that they did not put in the cloud, and all of these security measures, if they are implemented, will help to eliminate or minimize cloud computing security risks. Thank you.